Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about Jay Freeber's New Warriors. We're going to cover issues 2 to 7. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, when you read these particular issues from the series, this is the second New Warriors volume, you don't get any classic New Warriors villains. Like first we get Genocide, who seems to be like this one-off villain from the original run, but it's not one of the classic villains. They try to give us new villains that are very generic. They're not very interesting in general. Also, the writer has a real hard time with these characters and making them interesting, with one exception, Namorita. So issue 2 actually starts off with Namorita going to this genetic institute. She wants to do studies on her body. She is going through some weird mutations and her powers have been changing as of late. In the first issue of this run, we discover that I'm not sure if she can become invisible or if she can naturally camouflage herself. Also, she seems to have this weird acid touch, which is very painful for anyone that she uses it on. Now, for those who don't know, Namorita is actually a clone of Namora, which would be Namor's cousin, I think. During this time, Namora was thought to be dead. Later on, we're going to discover that, I don't remember if she was like frozen or in suspended animation, but she was brought back to life and she was part of the Agents of Atlas in the early 2000s. The thing is that to do these studies, Namorita has to shackle herself to this machine. When she does this, the main scientist reveals herself to be Genocide, this one-off villain that the New Warriors dealt with way back in the original run. I have no idea why, because it's not explained, but she really hates clones, and this whole institute was dedicated to studying clonation. While this is going down, we have this whole subplot with Speedball that is going to go on during this whole run, and it sort of makes sense what happens in the third New Warriors run. That Speedball wants to improve the New Warriors' image, and he's sort of like obsessed with fame. And it seems that Speedball's mom is an actress on the soap opera. So Speedball goes to the set, tries to make connections there. Now, going back to Namorita and Genocide, obviously the New Warriors step in, help their teammate. They defeat the villain. The team gets the big revelation that Namorita is a clone. Then we jump to issue 3. Then we get the story arc that revolves around Aegis, that he grew up in a rough part of town. One of his friends was killed in a drive-by shooting. So what happens is the New Warriors go in to investigate to find out what had went down. And here we have a team that's very, very powerful, not being able to deal with a bunch of gang members. I know that they have a bunch of weapons from AIM and they're crazy powerful. This is a total retreading of what happened in the first New Warriors volume in issue, I think it was 2, where we get this introduction of this really awesome character. His name was Midnight Fire. But in this case, in this newer New Warriors run, there's no big boss to this gang. There's no super interesting character. It's sort of sad to see the New Warriors can't deal with a bunch of gangsters. It's such a low-level threat, and the New Warriors get their asses handed to them. While this is going down, we get an interesting subplot where Namorita goes and visits Namor, where we discover that the reconstruction of the New Atlantis was basically funded by the fact that Namorita liquidated all of Oracle Industries, a company that Namor had created back in the early 90s when he sort of wanted to be like Tony Stark, I guess. It was also the company that financed the operations of the new Heroes for Hire post-Onslaught. And also we discover, thanks to Namor, that Namorita's like crazy mutations are due to the fact that her cloning process was tampered with, and she's showing some throwback abilities to that her clonation process was tampered with, and she has some powers that very primitive Atlanteans used to have. Issue 4, we still have the New Warriors dealing with these gangsters. They seem to be getting their weapons from Silvermane, but Silvermane plays no role in these stories. And what happens is the New Warriors find out who were providing these weapons from AIM in the first place. And it's this very generic group of villains that use technological armors, which again, they're able to keep the New Warriors on the ropes and are able to escape. Then we get this super stupid soap opera situation with Turbo. She falls in love with one of the members of these villains that I was talking about, the guys with the technological armors. I think his name was Heatstroke. And he actually gives the New Warriors a new base. He knows who he's dealing with, but he's in love. It takes forever for Turbo to realize this situation. Obviously, this character, Heatstroke, changes sides, becomes one of the good guys. Then in issue 5, we get a classic superhero misunderstanding where we almost get a cool battle between the New Warriors and Generation X. We get a little spat that goes on for just 2 pages and that's it. Where both teams are dealing with this poor guy that has turned into this toxic waste monster. But the cool thing is that the New Warriors are not too keen with working with Generation X because obviously they're being led by the White Queen, who has history with the New Warriors. Then in issue 6, we have the New Warriors having to deal with Mutant Force, that very obscure evil mutant team that was led by Magneto a long time ago, that had peepers in the lineup. And you get this feeling during this whole run that the New Warriors are in the minor leagues. Like, even Nova drops that line. It's like Marvel editorial was like, you're not getting any of the A-listers. They're totally out of bounds for you guys. And then we get this jaw-dropping last page on issue 6 where we get the return of Night Thrasher, and he has this terrible, terrible new costume that for some reason, it really reminds me of Falcon if he went like Black Ops Ninja mode. I don't understand because the design of Night Thrasher's original costume was so cool. You can redesign it, retouch it, but not give him this terrible new look. And in issue 7, we're going to get a really interesting setup that we're going to cover in a different video where someone's trying to hunt down Iron Fist. Night Thrasher is trying to help him. But for now, we're going to leave this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.